Now that you have learned about laying the foundation with post-secondary transition assessments, writing post-secondary transition goals based on those assessments, developing services and courses of study that align with the goals, and heard from Jason about how that all applies to him, you are now ready to help your students develop the annual IEP goal. Writing the annual IEP goal is the next step in the process, as you can see in the post-secondary transition services flowchart. This is a snapshot of the USBE Model Transition Plan form along with a link and QR code to the form. The verbiage reminds you what is required in an annual IEP goal. The space on the form is left blank. Each LEA determines how to answer this question. The IEP goal can be written out or copied and pasted. If the IEP goal is labeled as a post-secondary transition goal, it can be referred to in the annual IEP goal space. The IEP goal number could be used, however, caution is advised due to confusion that may arise since sometimes the same number exists for multiple categories. Remember to keep in mind that your IEP platform may look slightly different, but will include the same components to the plan for compliance. So how are IEP goals written? The student's IEP must have at least one annual IEP goal that links to the student's post-secondary transition service needs. This goal is on the annual goals page of the IEP and can also be listed on the post-secondary transition plan page, but must be documented on the current IEP. The goal must be observable and measurable, just like all the other IEP goals. And be sure that the annual IEP goal addresses the student's unique needs. Here are some effective practices to consider when helping the student develop their annual IEP goals. Annual goals state what the student will do or learn within the next year that will move the student toward achieving his or her PSGs, and that link to the student's transition services. Behavioral, including social skills, self-advocacy, or communication goals can readily link to any of the PSGs. Effective practice is that each annual goal directly, specifically, and genuinely links to the PSGs and is supported by a specific transition service. Here are some examples of annual IEP goals that address a student's post-secondary transition needs. Given direct instruction on the use of budgeting spreadsheets, a checklist of items to include in a monthly budget, and 3 case studies, Sophie will create a monthly budget for each case study with 100% accuracy by the end of third quarter, as measured by the monthly budgeting checklist. Given instruction, examples, and practice in writing effective email communications, Jose will demonstrate 100% efficiency over 3 consecutive instances in writing effective emails to his teachers that communicate his accommodations as measured by an effective email communication rubric. Given modeling on how to assemble materials for specific on-the-job tasks from a job coach, Andrew will assemble the materials from a checklist on the job over 3 consecutive weeks with 90% accuracy as measured by a job coach-created observation checklist. Given instruction on leading an IEP meeting, Carlos will use the Transition Elevated Planning app or other post-secondary transition planning tool to lead his post-secondary transition IEP meeting by the end of the school year. This is Jason's annual IEP goal. Given instruction and self-advocacy skills, examples, and practice opportunities in effective verbal communication, Jason will demonstrate 100% efficiency over 3 consecutive instances in verbally requesting to his teachers what accommodations he will need for writing assignments as measured by a teacher-creative, effective communication checklist by the end of the 4th quarter. Let's hear from Jason on what he has learned about annual IEP goals.